Hello everyone, we are Group 3. The topic of our presentation today is the mediating role of environmental self-identity in the relationship between the consumption values and the purchase intention of organic food, an empirical study among Malaysia university students. Here are our group members. There are many 7 parts in our presentation. So firstly, let me introduce it to you. For the background of the study, people today care more about health and the environment, so many choose the organic food. In Malaysia, college students are becoming more eco-conscious, but even with the strong awareness, their actual buying behavior doesn't always match. That's why we explore deeper psychological factors. And for the research problems, there is the clear gap between what the students behave and what they believe and what they act. While the values matter, they don't always fully explain the behavior. One possible missing link is the environmental self-identity, whether someone sees themselves as an eco-friendly person. But this hasn't been studied much in Malaysia. And for the objectives and the questions, we looked at 5 predictors. That's the personal environmental identity strengths, food value orientation, environmental knowledge depth, and the green skepticism. And last part is the social approval seeking. And examined their impact on 2 outcomes. That's the sustainable food choice behavior and the sustainable food choice authenticity. And for the 4th part, that's the significance of study. Our study helps explain what the values turn into actions. And this is not enough to raise awareness. We need to build the identity and motivation. These findings are useful for marketers and the policymakers who want to promote the green habits more effectively. For the scope of the study, we focused on the Malaysia college students using a structured questionnaire. This group is educated, aware, and represents the future of sustainable consumption. In this study, environmental self-identity is treated as a mediating variable, linking the personal values to the sustainable action. And our research design is measurable, practical, and relevant for understanding the young consumers' behavior in developing countries. Last part is the key definitions. We defined 7 key terms, including the environmental identity, food values, knowledge, skepticism, and the social influence. These concepts help us to understand what truly drives the students' sustainable food decisions. Well, that's all for me. So now let my partner give you more detailed information about it.
Okay, for the literature review, our study aims to explore how environmental self-identity plays a moderating role between the consumption values of Malaysian college students and their intention to purchase organic food. So why is this important? Although young people today show increasing concern for environmental issues, having green values doesn't always lead to green action. This is known as the value-action gap. For example, students might agree with sustainability in theory, but still choose cheaper or more convenient food options in practice. To understand this, we reviewed 7 key variables: the sustainable food choice behavior, sustainable food choice authenticity, personal environmental identity strengths, food value orientation, environmental knowledge depth, green skepticism, and social approval seeking. But here's the gap. Previous research often focused on only 1 or 2 of these variables, especially in Western context. What is missing? First, there's little integration of multiple variables in one model. Second, most studies are Western dominated. In contrast, Malaysia's multicultural and religious diversity may shape very different behaviors. Third, there's also a lack of focus on how identity, skepticism, and social motivation interact. So what does our research contribute? First, we integrate a multivariate model to see how all 7 factors work together. Second, we focus on the Malaysian culture context, not just the Western assumption. Third, we highlight the difference between true sustainability and performative behavior. Finally, we propose a 3-way interaction: how identity, skepticism, and social recognition combine to shape sustainable choice. To sum up, our study doesn't just ask whether students care about sustainability, but why, how deeply, and under what conditions this value turn into action. Okay, Li Zhihao, please continue your part.
Hello everyone, I'm Li Zhihao, the leader of Group 3. Thank you for joining me today. Next, I will walk you through our research conceptual framework and our methodology. Our conceptual framework is on the left side, and the hypothesis is on the right side. Now, moving on to research methodology, we structured this into 3 parts: data collection, instrument, sampling method, and data analysis. We used a self-administered online questionnaire built on Google Forms. Why an online survey? It's fast and easy for students to access. Each item is measured on a 5-point Likert scale. 1 equals to strongly disagree to 5 equals to strongly agree. Why a 5-point scale? It balances simplicity with enough options to capture opinions clearly. Our target population is Malaysian university students, chosen because they are likely to care about sustainability. We gathered 173 respondents using non-probability convenience sampling. We shared the survey via university email lists, WhatsApp groups, Facebook, and Instagram. Is 173 enough, you might ask? For an exploratory study, it's acceptable. Of course, convenience sampling has limitations, like potential biases, but Saunders and Aitken both say it's okay when you need quick, low-cost data from an accessible group. We used IBM SPSS statistics. First, we performed descriptive statistics to summarize demographics, such as age, gender, and so forth. Next, we ran reliability analysis via Coronabug Alpha. How do we check if our scales are reliable? We look for an alpha above 0.7. Finally, we conducted multiple regression analyses to test our hypotheses. This lets us see if, for example, PEIS really predicts sustainable behavior or authenticity. We set our significance level at p less than 0.05. If a p-value is below 0.05, we say the result is statistically significant. Let me share with you some key findings from our research. First, we collected 173 valid responses. Most of our respondents were young, born after 1997. Does that surprise you? Well, it makes sense. Young people today are more involved in sustainability topics. Most of them were students and had at least a bachelor's degree. Interestingly, almost half of them were mainly responsible for food choices at home. Now, how do we know our questions were reliable? We used something called Cronbach's alpha. If the number is above 0.7, it's considered good. All of our variables passed this test. One of them even scored 0.966. That shows our data is trustworthy. Okay, below is our SPSS result. Next, we looked at what affects people's sustainable food choice behavior, or SFCB. We tested 5 factors. The strongest one was environmental knowledge depth. People who know more about the environment tended to make greener food choices. Also, social approval seeking and green skepticism has a big impact too. But what about personal environmental identity and food value orientation? Surprisingly, they didn't have much effect on behavior. Isn't that unexpected? You see, identity would play a bigger role, but not in our case. Then we looked at another outcome, sustainable food choice authenticity. What makes people feel genuine about their choices? The biggest factors was green skepticism. Yes, being skeptical can actually lead to more authentic choices, perhaps because skeptical people want to make sure their choices are really meaningful. Also, food value orientation and social approval seeking mattered. Again, personal identity and environmental knowledge didn't make much difference here. To wrap up, our study shows that knowledge, social pressure, and even skepticism can shape how people choose sustainable food. But identity alone may be not as strong as we expected. Next, 卞子墨 will give you the conclusion.
Thanks for Jihao. So next, please follow me to see the top 3 influencing factors. We put the table here so you can directly to see our data. The first one, environmental knowledge, which is Malaysian student value eco-awareness, and about green skepticism. It is Malaysian youngs are more critical. The last one, social approval seeking. It is conformity in consumption. Next, please. About this part, we will sum up our study. We surveyed 173 Malaysian students and got some regression analysis. The surprise point in here is personal environmental identity had no impact. Next, please. Lastly, about conclusion, we have limitations and future research. About limitation, student only simple. So we no age, income, occupation, diversity limit is generalizability. And we also have some point which are unanswered, just like price sensitivity and halal certification. So future work to us is increase symbols and add reward factors. We also should explore culture interactions. So that's all about our presentation. Terima kasih and thank you for listening.